Hello, everyone. Good evening. This is Olusola Adio welcoming you to another episode of RelationshipScope. RelationshipScope. Yeah, good evening, everyone. So, please share this broadcast to everyone around you. Yes, I'm going to spend the next 1 to 2 minutes sharing this broadcast out to various social media outlets so we can get as many people to join us right now. Yeah, so sharing this to Twitter. Real Topsy, welcome. How are you? How's everything? Can you hear me loud and clear? Just let's do a quick sound check. Can you hear me very well? Just getting other people to join us on the broadcast. Yeah. So we should be ready to go in about a minute. Yeah. So hello everyone. How's your day been today? So let me just share it one more time to Facebook. Okay, so yeah, I've shared that across to Twitter, so Twitter and Facebook. So welcome, Wiz Years 5. How are you today? Hope everything is okay. The title of today's relationship scope is going to be avoiding failed proposals. Avoiding failed proposals. We'll try to do a quick job tonight before we go to bed, and this is particularly directed towards singles or people who are looking to marry very soon. Avoiding failed proposals. So that's what we're going to be discussing this evening. Now, the background of what I'm going to be discussing has to do with a video that was widely circulated on Twitter today. And that video had a guy who was trying to make a proposal to his lady, his girlfriend. And he had a ring, he went down on one knee. The girl was not responding. And he decided to go down on both knees. And the girl was she was angry, she was embarrassed, and she refused to accept the ring, and then she walked away. So, and I really felt for the guy. The guy was broken. I mean, you could see that he was in tears. Hey, Mr. Schaff, welcome. Periscope, how are you today? Can you hear me loud and clear? Yeah. So if you can hear me loud and clear, just give me a thumb. Give me a thumb there, and let me be sure that you can hear me very well. So I saw these yeah, Mr. Schaff, yeah, I can see you there. Yeah, good man. So yeah, so I saw this video, and I really felt for the guy that, oh, this shouldn't have happened. Oh, Schaff is a woman. Oh, I'm sorry. So hello, Miss Schaff, how are you today? Hope you've had a great day. So we're discussing failed proposals today, how to avoid failed proposals. So so I really felt for the guy, and I decided I was going to do a very short piece on how to avoid failed proposals, and believe that this is going to benefit both men and women, and it will help us become more, should I say, more precise and more accurate in our shooting. So it's one thing for you to have a gun, it's another thing for you to be able to use it very well, to be able to shoot with your gun accurately. So what I'm going to be discussing tonight will help you shoot your gun accurately. Okay. Now, so let's get into the subject. Now, the thing is, there are so many things, that contribute to the dynamics these days now of, people trying to get married and people try to make their intentions known. And also, you have to also appreciate that cultures are evolving, things are evolving. In the Bible days, things happen at least in the ancient days, things happen differently. In the days of my own parents, I think a lot of decisions, those kind of decisions were made on behalf of the people involved by maybe much more elderly people and experienced people. And somehow they survived, somehow they made it through, and in fact, somehow they got good results. I would say that we have more people in our generation today that are divorced and separated than people in our previous generations. Even though people try to try to explain the numbers by saying that, oh, okay, it's because people know that they are now free to divorce and they are now free to walk out of abusive marriages. But I still believe that even with the abusive marriages factored in, I still believe that they had better numbers, they had better statistics in terms of marriages that made it across the line than our own generation, because things are really falling apart, quite quickly. And because things are falling apart right now, everybody has to take responsibility for what they're doing. You have to take responsibility for your choices in life. Hey, good evening, Runex. How are you? Long, 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 long time. Long time. Can you hear me clearly? Just give me a thumb or just send me a message. Make sure you can hear me clearly on Facebook. Wow, good to see you, Runex. So this generation now, we now take responsibility for what we're doing. Nobody is going to drop a woman on your laps. Oh, good, good, good. Nobody's going to drop a woman on your laps today now and say that, oh, this is the person you are going to marry, and run with it. And wrong with it. Everybody now has to take responsibility. You've got to bear responsibility. The man has to take responsibility for his choices. The woman also has to take responsibility for her choices when it comes to dating and marriage. So now, how do we avoid failed proposals? That's the subject that I really want to go into today, just to give us an idea. I mean, my own thoughts really on how to avoid failed proposals. Now, we also know that in those days when Isaac was going to get married, they brought a woman to him. They brought a woman to him, and well, it was pretty much a done deal. We also know that in the days of Boaz and Ruth, Ruth positioned herself strategically for Boaz to notice her, and then Boaz made the move and made sure that everything was in place to ensure that they got married. Now, in our generation, now also, I mean, if you look at it, Nigeria, I mean, you say that the world right now has become a small village. We've got social media going on. So it means that in Nigeria, you can pick up your smartphone. You can see what's going on in the US. You can see what's going on in the UK. I mean, people are moving from country to country, studying in different countries, working in different countries. So you can see that culture is actually evolving and getting mixed up, from country to country, from society to society. So really, where you started from, even in your own culture, is not where you are. Is not where you are at the moment, because you've mixed up with different cultures. You've traveled out to meet with different people, to work with different people, to study with different people. Not only that, you have your smartphone. You can see what's going on in America. You can see what's going on in the UK. You can see what's going on in Russia. So you see that everything is coming together. People are coming together. Cultures are evolving, from point to point. So we cannot really pin something down now and say, okay, this is the universal way of doing things. But let's try to at least look for a common ground. Now, one thing I know is that you have to make your decision, at least in today's world, on who you want to marry. You have to decide who you want to marry as a man. You have to decide who you want to marry as a woman. So let's look at the issue of proposal. Now, what is the essence of having what I call a public proposal? Now, the essence of the public proposal is that you want to make a formal declaration to a woman that you intend to marry her, you intend to spend the rest of your days. Yeah. Welcome, Jora Kianks. That's your username on Periscope. And thanks for inviting followers. So get more people to join. Yes. So, yeah, A Salvation is giving a feedback here on Periscope to say that things are falling apart and we need to take responsibility for our actions. Yes, you are correct. Eddie, welcome on you're welcome on Instagram. Yeah, nice to see you. Long time. So, so people, a man has to decide now that he's decided that he wants to marry this woman, and then he's decided that okay, I want to make a public declaration. I want to make a public declaration to this woman, maybe in the presence of other people, that I want to spend the rest of my life with you. And then the culture really is that you also have a ring that you're going to offer to the woman, and also you're going to go down on one knee, uh, which pretty much we got this from the West. Really, I don't think in the days of my dads and moms anyone knelt down for anybody. But of course, they had their own way of proposing and making their intentions known that they wanted to marry. I won't go into that. But let's focus on our own world today. So the man makes that declaration, and then the woman accepts. So you see, the man has made a declaration, and then the woman has the right to accept or to reject. Now, the point is this: why do we have failed proposals? And what are the things you need to do before you get to the point of making a proposal or putting across a proposal to a woman? Those are the things I want to discuss. Number one, you meet a woman and you start having a discussion, you start holding a discussion with her. I want to believe that at some point you need to make your intentions known. This relationship, is it for fun? Even though in Christianity, I don't believe a relationship should be for fun. I believe that a relationship should have at least the objective of marriage. Even if you don't get to that point and you had to split and go your different ways, is a different thing. But if you don't even have marriage as an objective, then the relationship really is not of much essence. So, but let's assume that we are clear that we want to marry. I have an intention. I'm looking to marry. Let's put it that way. The lady too is looking to marry. Maybe we're not really sure if we're a good fit with each other. We're not. I'm not sure if we're a good fit, and that's the whole essence of talking, the whole essence of talking, the whole essence of discussing, the whole essence of just throwing things up and in the air and see how it comes along. Maybe you just throw a scenario question that, oh, if you get married, how many children would you love to have? And then the lady goes, oh, I would love to have only 2 children. You have 4 children in mind. So maybe you want to throw that up as well. And from there, you begin to see whether you people, both of you are in agreement on a number of things. And then another factor we must also not forget is the factor of divine direction, where you are praying to God. You are praying to God and asking God that despite the decision that I'm making, despite my thinking and everything, I also want you to guide me. And I also want to be sure that the decision I make is in line with your will. So we also need to be very sure about that. We also need to be very sure about that as well. So we've got praying and asking for God for direction, and also discussions to find out, sort of like throw things in the air and find out whether we're going to be a good fit or we're going to be a good match. You will not believe certain things that can put people off about a marriage partner. Like, for instance, now on social media one day, someone told me that she cannot stand a man that snores, that she just cannot stand this noise of snoring. So if she knows that you snore, she will not marry you. Now, some of you might think that is flimsy, but she thinks it is serious for her, that she cannot sleep beside a snoring man. So something that it's that serious to her, but it may not be that serious to you. So those are the sort of things that you want to discover, because you're trying to make a decision that you're going to stick with for the rest of your life. Now, at that point, I'm not expecting anybody to start making any proposal to anyone. Now, it's also possible that a lady might come and might not fancy you and might not want to spend the rest of her life with you, but is only just happy to have you as a companion. Like maybe she's in trouble and she rings you up, or she sends you a message on WhatsApp and you're responding, and she's feeling good that somebody is at least talking to her and responding to her, but she does not want to spend the rest of her life with you. And the mistake that many people make, many men make, is that they think that because this lady is responding, to text, responding to WhatsApp messages, responding to, Twitter DMs and all that, so they erroneously think that the lady is interested in something serious. So what then happens is that, and also maybe the lady is also responding when you say, okay, let's go out to KFC to have to have a meal, or let's go out to Wagamama to have a meal. So the lady is also responding to all that. So you begin to think that, oh, this lady really likes me, or she goes out with me, we talk, we gist, we even hug, you go that far. And then one day you now come up with this ring to make a proposal, and then she says no, that she's not interested, and then men will get disappointed. So these are the sort of things that we want to avoid. And one of the things I also want to suggest in avoiding this is to start that conversation early on. It may not be that direct, but it could be in form of scenario questions. That, okay, maybe the lady is 22, you are 26, and then you could just like ask a question that, oh, let's say the lady's name is Orange. So you can just say, Orange, when do you think is the best age for you to get married, by the way? And Orange says that she still has a master's and PhD to do, and that she's looking to get married 7 years later. Now she's 22. So 7 years later will be 29. You are 26. Your parents are already banging the door on your head that you must marry in the next 2 years. Now, Orange is not the best candidate for you. Orange is not ready for marriage until 7 years, but Orange is happy to keep you as a friend, as a companion that will be trading messages with you on WhatsApp and Twitter DMs, but she's not ready to marry. Now, if you throw a proposal down, you're just wasting your time. You understand? So you know that Orange is not your candidate. So from there, you begin to back off, and go look for someone else. So you don't sit down with Orange and then make a silly proposal that Orange is going to throw back into your face. You understand? So same thing too on the other side. Even if a man comes along, let's call his name Mr. Grapefruit. So Mr. Grapefruit, brother Grapefruit, comes along and is now beginning to, hang around with you. He wants you to go out with him for lunch. He wants to go out with you for dinner. You're all on WhatsApp, sending all sorts of things to yourselves. And this is going on for 2 months, 3 months, 4 months, 5 months. And Mr. Grapefruit is not discussing anything. Mr. Grapefruit is not discussing anything about a permanent union. Mr. Grapefruit does not even give an idea of when he could be marrying. Now, you, Sister Orange, you are already like, let's say, you are already 25 years old. You have finished your education. You are working in a bank. Your parents are already on your case. That when are you going to get married? And now Mr. Grapefruit comes. All Mr. Grapefruit just wants to be doing is to be trading WhatsApp messages for you. Then he's all over your DM. Then he's all over, possibly all over the DMs of another person somewhere else. Then you begin to ask yourself that, okay, we've been going for dinner. We've been exchanging WhatsApp messages, for the last 3 months now, but no movement, no progress at all. Then it is just right and just appropriate for Miss Orange to open that conversation and say, look, brother Grapefruit, we've been, hanging out for the last 3 months now. I really enjoy it. I love your company, and everything. But, oh, by the way, do you have anything, do you have it in mind at all that what we're doing, should progress into anything serious? into anything serious at all. So you just like find a way of diplomatically slipping that in. And then brother Grapefruit then says to you that I don't even think that I have marriage in mind right now for the next 6 years. In fact, I'm going to Indonesia to go and do a master's, and I'm not even sure if from Indonesia I'll be crossing over to Australia. Now, Miss Orange, don't waste your time. There's no chance there. Don't waste your time attending more KFC dinners or more Wagamama meals or going to eat shawarma with him. Don't waste your time. That is a dead end. Just leave brother Grapefruit alone. Brother Grapefruit knows that he's not ready to get married in the next 6 years. You are 25. You finished your education. You're already working in a bank and you want to move on. So just, you know that is not the way to go. So you just keep moving. Now, so I've given you, these scenarios that once you start, like mingling with people, like holding conversations, try to find out whether you have the same goals or you have the same approximate destinations, so that you don't waste your life and you don't waste your resources and you don't waste your time. Now, when it comes to proposal, seriously, my own opinion, before you come to the point of making a proposal, I believe very strongly that there should be those, those little talks where you begin to find out what the other person is all about, and whether your visions can cooperate together, whether they can work together, like whether there's a chance that both of you can ever come together as a couple. Now, once you've established that, and there is at least a rough intention that you want to be with this person for the rest of your life, then I also believe that that conversation should become concretized. That, oh, okay, bearing any unforeseen circumstances, let's have a relationship. Oh, okay, I have some feedback here. I have Runex just sent some feedback here. We might have a chit chat about this. It says, I have some friends who professed never to get married and are now married. The girls waited. So people do change their minds, I guess. Yep, that is true. That is true. But also it can be risky. We cannot actually put it out to thousands of people as a rule. Yeah, people do change their minds. So what you want to do really is to there is what we call don't burn bridges. So even if it's not going to work today, you're not going to be enemies. It's like you just keep the door open, keep them in the friend zone. That's how we call it. So you just leave them in the friend zone. You're friends, but nothing serious, because within that same period, someone else that is more serious can possibly come along. I've seen it happen, really. In fact, it actually happened to me one day. There was a time I was talking to a particular person. We had not fully agreed. I really, liked this person, and she liked me, and we thought we were going to get married, but we needed to iron out one fine detail, and that fine detail was that where were we going to live. She wanted to live in a particular country. I didn't want to live in that country. So we didn't really come to an agreement that night in discussion. So we said, okay, we've come this far now. Let's chill out. Let's revisit this in 2 weeks. Now, within 2 to 3 weeks, she had met someone else. She had wrapped up the entire discussion with someone else. And then she came to announce to me that, oh, okay, you know what? Someone else has come along, and I'm going with that person, and I'm getting married with that person. So that was how everything between us, as in that conversation between us, collapsed. So, and she was gone, and she went to marry the other person. So really, we'll keep the door open. We don't burn bridges, but yet at the same time, we also keep your options open, because the person can go off the market, and if the person goes off the market, then you're on your own. You're on your own, and you have to go and sort out your life. So, and that's what happened to me. So she was off the market in just 2 weeks. Just 2 weeks, she was off the market, and I had to, start all over again. So, and then it also happens to women. I think it probably be more devastating on a woman if we have a stalemate in 2 weeks, and then I'm off in 2 weeks and tell her that, oh, sorry, I'm gone. I mean, in fact, that could even become a scandal. But but for me, in my own case, it wasn't a scandal, but I actually ranted for a few minutes when she told me that. I said, no, that this is not acceptable, but well, I cannot stop you. So you've made your decision. You've made your decision. Goodbye. And that was several years ago. That must be like close to 25, 30 years ago now. That's a long time. So everybody's doing fine now. We're all happy. So that's so if you look at it that way, you need to now get to that point where if you've both decided that you want a serious relationship onto marriage, that has to be communicated in private, not in public. If you then decide that you want something serious, let's say I decide that Brother Grapefruit wants something serious with Sister Orange, this is not a matter for open proposal in Wagamama. This is a matter of private discussion where no one else is there. Now, I even heard that in some cultures in South Africa, you are not even allowed to propose to a woman that you want to marry her until you have actually met the parents. So it's like the parents would have seen you, they would have sampled you, they would have checked you out, make sure that you're okay before you even get to the point of proposal. But I think in these days now, a lot of the way it happens, and a lot of times we're even proposing, making these proposals, doing all sorts before we even take them to our parents. Oh well, that might be debatable in a sense, but really I would suggest that if you are going to get involved in an African family, I think you should check the family out at least and be sure that those are the people you want to have as your in-laws before you go to the stage of proposal, because families are involved when it comes to marriage. Even in the UK here, the families check you out. I had a colleague some years back. She wanted to marry this guy, and you won't believe. I mean, I thought it was only Africans that could be petty. So she told her siblings that, oh, I met this great guy, my boyfriend, blah, 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 blah. The entire family told her that, wait, we are coming to your house next week. So they all drove down, the sister, the brother, the father, the mother, in the same car to come to this house, to come to this girl's house. They got there, they saw the guy, they didn't like him. They just squeezed she told me that they just squeezed their faces like this, that the guy knew that they didn't like him. Seriously, they didn't even hide the fact that they were disgusted when they saw this guy. That by the time they left, that she knew that they did not like this guy at all. So now, if you are proposing to that kind of a woman, it's a waste of time, really, because you've got a whole family to fight to get anywhere. So you want to check out the family, make sure that it's a family that you can exist with, you can operate with before you get to that point of proposal. So that's very important. So the decision has already been made in private that this is the person you want to marry, this is the kind of person you want to hang out with before we even get to that point of making a public proposal. So the lady is taken along, the man is also taken along, both of you are on the same page. You're already moving one step after the other in this relationship. You even probably also maybe like checking out your pastors in church. I mean, like when I met Moni, my wife, for instance, before I even got to the point of proposal, we went together just to say hi to my pastor. I didn't tell my pastor this is the person I want to marry. I just took her along and we said hi. And then the next time I saw my pastor, for the first time, because my pastor had seen me with different people before, for the first time, my pastor said, the lady you came with the other day, it's just something different about her. And I told my pastor, I said, pray along with me. That is the person that I'm looking to, marry. That is the person that I'm looking to marry. And so I began to pray along. I began to pray, and he too was praying along with me until I eventually made the decision. So that could also help, that if you are in touch with your spiritual leadership, it's also possible for you to like swing by their offices, so that if there's something that is not obvious to you, they can also see it and they can also let you know something about it. So it is when all these steps have passed, the decision is made internally that you guys are in a proper official relationship that is leading to marriage. That is when I believe that the guy should then pop up with a public proposal to formally announce the start of the engagement. So I mean, and if you do it that way, it is very extremely unlikely that you're going to have a failed proposal, because there's absolutely no way a lady could have gone with you in all the steps and now get to that point where you offer a public proposal and then she rejects it. I mean, that won't make any sense at all. But most of these failed proposals, the lady had not even given it a thought that she wanted to marry the guy. Let me give you a scenario that will shock you guys. I know of a person somewhere, and she had a sister who was already engaged to somebody, as in someone had proposed to her and they were both engaged. But I think the person who had proposed to her, gotten engaged to her, was going to get married to her, was living in another city, maybe in another city or in another country. So what this lady did was that there was another guy that was going after her, and she gave this guy the signal, like a welcome. When you give a guy a welcome signal, that it's like you can come. So the guy kept coming, but the guy had not discussed anything about marriage. And what this guy kept doing was, this guy kept lavishing money on this lady. He was just lavishing money, and the lady was just taking in all the money, taking in all the attention, but the guy had not proposed. And the guy was unaware that the girl was already engaged to another man in another city. So she gave this guy hopes. So this guy would take her to dinner, give her money, buy stuff for her. In fact, at some point, the guy was already contemplating buying her a car, even though they were not married or engaged. So the guy kept on until a point where somebody was no longer comfortable with that situation, and then threatened the lady and said, look, you have to tell this guy that you are already engaged. Now, in that scenario, if this thing went on maybe for another 3 months, this poor guy will turn up at ShopRite in Lagos with the girl and then issue a public proposal, because he's been buying all sorts of gifts and everything. And then the guy is going to get a flat no, because the lady is already engaged to someone else. So you see that? So it is very dangerous for you to just come along and be splashing money on people, splashing money on women, and then one day you now pop up and think that because of the money you are splashing, the person really has decided to spend the rest of her life with you. No, she could be engaged to someone else and just stringing you along. So that also happens. It also happens. Some ladies are just quite happy to eat the dinners, soak in the attention, but they do not see a future with you. They don't think they can ever spend the rest of their lives with you. You need to find that out very quickly before you go too far. Because one thing is this: a lot of men, especially men that are not saved, when they get into relationships, they're not really looking into something serious. But the moment a man decides that he wants to marry, then all his emotional energy is activated. And many times, men who then switch into their emotional side are very blind to detail. And this is where they miss it. They are blind to detail. They cannot see the detail. They cannot see that the lady is not interested in them. But all they're just doing is that because the lady is responding to the attention, responding to the affection, responding to the words, they think automatically that the lady is, already up for it. She wants to get married the same way they want to get married, until they just pop up a surprise proposal and they just get a flat no. So don't drop surprise proposals on people. I think it's wrong. In fact, I even believe that it is wrong for you to want to make me, make a decision, a lifetime decision in 5 seconds. I think it is unfair to give a woman 5 seconds to decide who she wants to be with for the rest of her life. I don't think it makes any sense at all. I don't think it makes any sense. It happened to me even as a man. There was a lady in church that I began to talk to, back then. And we had barely spoken, like for a week. And I didn't really know her that well, but just getting to know her, ask questions. How are you? Everything, how old are you? Where do you work? And all the rest. So we had talked for barely a week. And then one day she invited me around to her. Yeah, she worked in a hospital. So she invited me around, to her hospital. And then she said, well, we've been speaking for a week now. And I just want you to decide right now whether we're getting married or not. 1 week. Total stranger. And I just said to her, I said, 1 week is too early. I've started praying about it. I don't have a go ahead yet. And it will be it's too drastic for me to make a decision right now. Okay, can you give me a week or two for me to go off and pray and decide and make up my mind whether this is exactly what I want for the rest of my life? And she said, no, you have to decide now. You've been seeing me for 1 week. You have to decide now whether we are getting married or not. So I said to her, well, if you have to force me to decide now, then I think I will go for a no. I am deciding that I am not getting married to you. So it will be in our best interest to terminate this relationship or whatever description we give to it and go our different ways. And that's exactly what I did, because I didn't believe it made any sense for you to ask me to make a decision that will impact the rest of my life, giving me only 5 seconds. And I think the same also goes for women. Nobody must make you make that decision in 5 seconds. So if a surprise proposal is dropping on you, and you've never thought about it until you saw that proposal, then the answer must be a no. Somebody suggested that, okay, maybe say yes to save the guy from humiliation, and then when you get home and now say, look, this is a surprise. I wasn't prepared for it. I've not made up my mind about it, and I believe that we need to take 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 steps before we get there. So you tell the man what those steps are, so that both of you will be able to move together. You understand? So, but as a Christian, for me, it is a no. Really, if I'm pushed to the wall that way, I'll just say no, and then we'll keep it as no. And then I would be able to tell you if it's something we can salvage or if it is really, really a permanent no. So no surprise proposals. I mean, you want to do a Bella Nigeria proposals, make sure the girl has decided to marry you. Don't go and burn your money. Don't go and burn your money with Bella Nigeria only for the girl to give you a flat no. You understand? Make sure it is somebody you are going to marry. I have a relative that is marrying in the next 3 weeks, and she was telling me about her journey. And she said to me that they had this discussion, they had this conversation, they decided that they were going to get married. Everything was settled away in private. But then she told him that I've decided I'm going to marry you, but you must make me a surprise public proposal. And she left it there. So it was up to the guy to decide when and where he was going to make the proposal, and that was how they left it. She just left it there. And she said, truly and truly, this guy popped up on her last day in a particular office in Lagos, with a whole massive surprise proposal, and it was very colorful, very lovely, and very pleasant. But that was based on the fact that they had already decided that they were going to marry before that day. The surprise proposal was to just add color and add formality to what had already been decided. So you understand now? Let nobody make you a surprise proposal and give you 5 seconds to make the most important decision of your life next to accepting Jesus. I hope you understand that. And for you men as well, make sure you have had this conversation, because really, if you look at it, why would you drop a surprise proposal on a woman without even looking at her face to face and say, okay, let us talk about this? Do you see ourselves? Do you see us living together for the rest of our lives? I mean, if we get married, where do you think you would love to live? How do you think you would want to operate? What kind of arrangement would you love, within the home? So those sort of things, those sort of conversations should have taken place before you now drop a proposal on a woman. So you have not had this conversation, and then you just come with one silly ring and just drop on one knee. No, it doesn't make any sense. You should have that conversation beforehand. So, because it also means maybe it's a manifestation of low esteem that you cannot look at a woman straight in the face and hold this conversation before you now drop a ring in surprise just to avoid scrutiny. No, you should be scrutinized by the woman. The woman should ask questions. Oh, okay, so what do you want to do here? What do you want to do there? Where do you see us going here if we get married? What's your direction in life? What is your goal in life? What is your vision? What is your vision in life? What is your dedication to God like? If we get married and have children, how do you see us raising them? Those are questions that you should ask. That you want to resolve. Those are conversations you should have before you drop a proposal on anyone. So I just want to stop here. If you have any questions, if you have any feedback, please just type it into your chat window, whether Periscope, Facebook, or Instagram. So if you have any questions that you want us to answer, if you have any contributions to these, or if you have any experience that you want to share with the rest of us, so please type this in your chat window. I'm going to I'll be closing the broadcast in the next 4 minutes or so we can go and catch some sleep and go to bed. Hallelujah. So I hope we had a great time, and feel free to share the things that we've discussed here with other single people that you know. That don't just drop surprise public proposals on people without having had a prior discussion with them. So that's very important. So any feedback, any questions, any comments, and yeah. So Runex, how's Lagos? And no. I think you're in Canada. I'm not sure. Anyway, we'll catch up and talk about that. It's been such a long time. Oh, okay, busy 7500. You've been a blessing to me and my love life. Keep it up. Yes. So just give me a heart and give me a thumb there on Periscope. Yeah. We thank God for that. We give God all the glory and we give him all the adoration. Hallelujah. So any feedback and any comments, and the broadcast is going to close in about 2 minutes. This is 43 minutes 16 seconds, so we're going to close the broadcast on the dot of 45 minutes. Yeah. So on Instagram, rather, we've got Real Topsy, we've got Wheezy Ass 5, we've got Eddie Imushe, and then we've got HMM74. Greetings to all of you out there. And then we've got Olumide Ologon as well. We've got George Dubra Israel. Yeah, thanks for joining. We've got Runex as well. Thanks for joining. And I believe that we've had a great time. From time to time, I'll be dropping in like this to share on what I call relationship scope. So I'll call this a relationship scope. So relationship scope is where we'll discuss everything relationships. So there's quite a lot to discuss. We're going to be talking about marriage, we're going to be talking about courtship, we're going to be talking about dating, and all the issues and factors that affect relationships. And then also there's another stream of broadcasts that I would also drop in from time to time. I'll call that word scope. Now in busy 7500 says it's 1 a.m. and I'm just up listening to deep wisdom. It's been beautiful. Good night. Happy morning. Yeah, good night. Busy 7500. So on Word Scope, we'll be discussing more of doctrinal matters from God's word, stuff like baptism of the Holy Ghost, speaking in tongues, God's word. So more direct things from God's word. We'll be discussing that on that Word Scope. But relationship scope, we'll be talking about, relationships, marriage, courtship, and all the rest. So it's almost 45 minutes now, and I just want to let everybody go. Have a nice rest and see you again sometime soon for another episode of Relationship Scope. So good night, Renek. Good night, George Zubra Israel. Good night, Olumide Ologon. And God bless you. And on Instagram, good night, Real Topsy, Wizzy S5, Imushe, and HMM74. Good night, everyone. God bless you.